Welcome to the 10th Asian Licensing Conference 2021. This year, the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, HKTDC, and Business Focus jointly launched a debut conference series, namely the Entrepreneur Dialogue, Invent a Business with Creative Use of IPs. The series aims to inspire more to invent businesses with innovative uses of IPs and disrupt the market, hence stimulating new market demand and transforming industries which would be beneficial to the economic recovery, especially in Asia. Today, we're very delighted to have with us Mr. Jackson Au, founder and CEO of Mighty Jaxx International Private Limited, to share with us. Hello, Jackson.
Hi, thanks for having me on the call. I appreciate it.
So first of all, would you like to share with us what made you start the company?
Well, my background is in creative media, and I have created, digital platforms across, the first few ventures that I had, and I felt the need to create something tangible. Like I actually want to create something that I can hold in my arms, hold in my hands, and I did that. That's when I started thinking about how do we go into creating our own designer figurines, our collectibles, and understanding the whole, process chain in manufacturing and so on. So that was when I went, to the factory for the first time. Yeah.
Right. And I learned that you have a strong passion for toys, and it somehow brought you into the toy business. Is that true?
Yes, yes. Personally, I have been collecting a lot of artworks, in many forms. So prints, art pieces, and even designer toys and collectibles. And I think that was when I was like maybe 16 or so, and I started collecting them. Um, and it created an urge in myself that I wanted to work with some of the best artists that I look up to, and to develop that toy figurines with them. Yeah.
Right. We see a wide range of brands and artists that you have. So what are your criteria in choosing the artists or brand names to work with? And do you have a favorite, or which artists do you appreciate the most?
Well, for artists that I chose, those are early influence, when I was in school in creative arts, and those are people that I look up to a lot. So I want to work with them. But with the brands, right, it's really more of a nostalgia feel that you get. I watch cartoons every Saturday when I was younger, and those nostalgia IPs are things that I grew up with. So working with them, brings back that feeling, when I was a kid. So that's how we usually work with.
So you choose from what could bring you the feel of nostalgic and that brings you back the childhood memories, mostly.
Right, right, right.
Mhm.
Yeah, buy
So
all
we
the
see,
toys or yeah.
right.
So we see most of your designs are derivative works from the original IPs of artists and global brands. How do you convince the artists and brands to cooperate with you? You have some stories to share with us.
Well, I think in the early 2000s, it's very focused on mass production type of items, and the idea is to get it into thousands of stores as much
Mhm.
as possible. But right now, I think we have moved towards creating things that are more unique and, and
Mhm.
and cooler in that sense. So it's adding your own artistic style to that classic character. So I think in the
Mhm.
beginning it was really hard for us.
Mhm.
Nobody really wants to work with a small team of four in Singapore making toys. It's something that's not very attractive, I think. So
Mhm.
what happened was that I managed to chance upon the email address of Warner Brothers head of toys at a point of time. So he's the global head of toys, and I just dropped him a message, ask for a meeting, and thinking that he would never reply, but he
Mhm.
did. Julian replied, and he was like, "Look, come down to LA and let's
Oh,
spend 30
wow.
minutes running through this
Mhm.
idea together." I was like, "Okay, I'll do that," but I'm in Singapore right now, so I took a flight, drove up to Burbank,
Mhm.
meet Julian, and we run through a couple of things. And by the end of the 30 minutes, we got ourselves a global deal, with Warner Brothers with their DC property and Cartoon Network property, and that really
Mhm.
propelled us to the next level. Revenue for
Mhm.
us grew 4 times, in the next 12 months. So that was quite a catalyst. Yeah.
Wow, that must be a huge milestone for your company at the early stage, and it is a brave step for you to actually write to Warner Brothers for the collaboration. It's very
Yeah, I mean,
amazing.
the most is that they'll say no, and that's about it.
Yeah. But they said yes, so
Yeah, that was
One
a
of those things.
yeah, that was a smart move for you. So, derivative works over original IPs and brands are new to the market. Could you tell us what exactly is a derivative work? Is it recreating the typical brand name by giving new meaning and fresh images to them? Or could you tell us how the idea actually emerged in the market?
Yeah, so I think designer toys typically uses pop culture to have a different spin on this character, right? And that happened probably 2002 or so, predominantly in Hong Kong first, where you have
Mhm.
your Michael Lau and some of these
Yeah.
guys in Hong Kong, and it went to Japan, and some of the street culture brands like Bounty Hunter first created it, and then it goes to
Mhm.
US, sometime down the road. And it was really born from that because you got to realize that the generations of today and at the point in time it's we all like different things, and we have different aesthetics, so you can't
Mhm.
pigeonhole us into certain styles that in
Mhm.
general you can get from any big box store, right? We
Mhm.
want to create something that is exceptional, that's unique, that represents your personality and your character, and so
Mhm.
begin this whole idea of synthesizing this unique styles with these classic characters, um, and and it depends on the artists they work with as well, because each artist have their own individual fan bases, so
Mhm.
that also help
Right.
open up in a very niche market in that sense.
Could you please also comment on the boundary between original work and derivative work in the 21st century when art postmodernism prevails?
I think essentially, instead of focusing on really mass market stuff, like
Mhm.
it's all about pinpointing, the exact group or segment that you're targeting, right? And that you're catering to. And those fan base can be, for example, a dissected Hello Kitty or a Hello Kitty with another
Mhm.
artist, and it begins to sort of focus in a more fixed direction, as opposed to,
Mhm.
hey, here's Hello Kitty everywhere.
Mhm.
I think it caters to the growing um, buying habits of also the consumers. Yeah.
Right, it really depends on how the market responds to that as well. Would you say so? So we see your derivative work focuses on designer toys or art toys. So clearly, designer toys are a crossover between toy industry and creative industry. What were the changes on the designer toy market, and what would it be its future development? Do you see in Singapore and Southeast Asia?
Yeah, so this is a great question to ask right now,
Mhm.
because one of our partners actually, people that we work with actually went IPO as well,
Mhm.
and there's a couple of listings of similar lookalike type of
Mhm.
companies in this space, handling from upstream and also downstream. But
Mhm.
it's a very interesting space to be in right now, because each one of us are unique in the way we approach the IPs. How do we want to collaborate, what kind of style, and so on. And I think the market is
Mhm.
beginning to respond very well with it, simply because these are not items that you can mention before buy in any big box stores. These are very
Mhm.
curated. These are specific items that you would buy because it relates to you on an emotional level, right?
Mhm.
And I think designer toys or art toys largely caters to that.
Mhm.
And when we talk about it being a niche in like early 2000s, right now
Mhm.
it's not niche anymore. This
Mhm.
this is what people are all buying, right?
Mhm.
This is adding a new spin on this IP. So that focus will probably be the same for the next 4 to 5 years of growth. Yeah, that's how we
Mhm.
see it.
And there's a lot of huge demand from China as well, like in Asia as a whole, and in Southeast Asia. Do you see? You agree with that?
Yeah. So initially we see a lot of interest. mature markets in US, and predominantly, 5 years ago that is true. But more increasingly, we look at China and also Southeast Asia, taking up about 65% of our total sales, annual sales. And so that signifies also a huge growth in the maturity of the audience understanding this kind of product. But more importantly, the affinity between the brand IPs with the consumers in these regions too. So I think that is overall going to be quite a massive growth in the next couple of years because of this.
So I see Mighty Jaxx have a lot of hot selling products, of course. Would you like to name one or two like best-selling products, and you can share with us the quantity that was being sold or the sales amount of being generated? I know several brand names or icons have been very popular in your shop.
I have no idea whether I can say this or not, but I think from a broader view, our dissection series have always been performing very well. So that is, we dissect basically all kinds of classic characters. And one of our recent, home run that we did was with partnership with Toei Animation. And they're the team that's based right in Hong Kong.
Oh wow.
Tony and Alston. Those are great guys that we work with, and we actually surpassed the target by about 900% or so. So that's a massive win for both the brand and also for Mighty Jaxx.
Wow, very impressive. So in growing your company, how do you attract customers, and what were the strategies are most effective when you're growing your company?
I think I still like the romanticized idea of growing a brand organically, because that's how brands in the beginning in the 1920s, that's how they built up. And I admire that a lot because it's genuine interest and passion from the fans who became your consumer, right? So that is very important to me, and that is also why we don't spend much money on marketing, simply because the collectors that we have, they usually have traction of their own, so they can be really popular core collector or celebrity collectors, anyone like that, who are almost like KOLs for us, and they help drive the traction to Mighty Jaxx as a brand, and those are genuine interests. When we set up exhibitions in Taipei, and in fact now we have one in Hong Kong in K11 Art Mall, and so those are people who are genuine fans who came by to support. So yeah, organic.
Wow, because you really attract true authentic collectors, and they really spread the word of mouth or good words of your brand, and people will come to you. So it's very, very impressive. So do you see any change in consumer behavior over designer toys amid the COVID-19 pandemic? Do you see it as an opportunity or a challenge to the business of Mighty Jaxx?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right? With the pandemic going on and everything. Well, the truth is, for our work with entertainment properties and in this kind of highly sought after collectibles market, in general, I think look-alike companies, they probably enjoy quite a good growth this year, as do we, and mostly because you can't go out, so you're just buying online, right? And predominantly we are e-commerce based platform that sells these collectibles. So that worked really well for us. But in the beginning, there's supply chain issues with COVID, and that prompted us to actually look at possibly other alternative manufacturing processes, and also a more sustainable way as well to create these products. So that got us thinking on a different level. But on the sales part of things and everything, it's trending well, and I think the IPs that come out this year is stronger than ever. How about IPs that come out on Netflix and some of these guys, really really strong to be integrated into the whole consumer product collectibles part of the process. Yeah.
So it's really bringing us challenges, yet a lot of opportunities altogether. 2020 has been a very special year for many industries, I guess. So if you're to give one advice to aspire other entrepreneurs, what will be your advice?
I think sometimes when you think about starting something, you tend to think too much into it to wonder whether you are prepared for it. And I can tell you, if I knew the things that I have to do all these years back, I probably wouldn't have done it. So the truth is,
Mm,
you don't really have like everything you need right now to be the
mm,
best version of
mm,
what you think you could be.
mm,
So there will never be a good time. This is a good time. The time is only now.
mm,
It's only present. So I think you just gotta bite the bullet and just go for it, whatever that you're dreaming about and you want to build. And at
mm,
the end of it, it is just a simple, maybe it's just no, and maybe you fail. But if you fail for the better, and you know that
mm,
next time when you try again. So I feel just do it. That's only now.
Just
Be brave and take the first step, and if not now, when, right?
I know these
uh,
are these are very cliche stuff, but it's really hard to do. It's really hard to implement.
Yeah, I know. So thank you very much, Jackson. It's been a very insightful sharing from you, and thank you for sparing time with us. Thank you once again, and thank you for watching. Goodbye. There are still more sharings from successful Asian entrepreneurs. Please stay tuned to other episodes of Entrepreneur Dialogue. You may also explore the following channels for more programs: Expert Sharing, Culture and Arts; Expert Sharing, Digital Entertainment; Licensing Academy;